Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on our third part of our webinar series regarding remote workers and enabling our new way of working. I'm Kyle Gagne, Western Regional Manager for Techni-Contact and AMX Canada. I'm joined by my colleague out east, Daniel Below, who takes care of Quebec and the Maritimes as well.
Hi, Kyle. How's it going?
Things are going well.
Perfect.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody jumping on. I know it's been a little bit of a slew of webinars for a lot of people here, and we really appreciate your time today, especially today because we do have many special guests joining us. We have Jeff Birch, who is the Director of Product Management at Harman International. Say hello, Jeff. Oh, right there. And then we've also got Blake Jackson, who is the Video and Controls Director for North America at Harman as well.
Good morning. Thank you, Kyle.
Thanks for joining us today, guys. We've got quite a bit of awesome AMX solutions here we'd like to show everybody, but quick little bit of housekeeping here. So we do have a Q&A section. So if you guys do have some questions available, we do have Mark Gilner, our technical panelist, available to answer any technical questions you have during the webinar, so you can enter those in the Q&A. In addition, this is being recorded, so we will make this available at the end of the event as well. We are actually doing a draw for a JBL Flip Bluetooth speaker. Anybody who is joining in, as long as you're here for the entire webinar, as well as fill in our survey at the end, you will be put into a draw to get that JBL Bluetooth speaker, and you'll be notified in the next couple of days. So without any remaining delays, I know we're a couple minutes in, people will be funneling in as we start, but I think I will actually hand it over to Blake here to start into the AMX discussion.
Thank you so much. Let me get my screen shared with the group and we'll be ready to roll. Let's see here. I'm gonna get to the right part of the presentation. Sorry about that. And Kyle, just a quick check. Are you able to hear me okay and you can see my screen okay?
Sound great, Blake, and we can see your Harman spread PowerPoint here.
Fantastic. So we're going to talk today about some of the innovation that we've made over the last year. We really wanted to take the opportunity to tell you about some of our new products and really try to relate them to the way the market looks today. So we'll kind of jump right in here. AMX has really been known through our heritage for sort of middle to large scale deployments, being able to move video and control around fairly large facilities. And we've done a fantastic job, and I'm going to show you some continued innovation in those spaces where I think we've had some really subtle introductions, and maybe a lot of folks don't realize is some of the advances that we've made to really fill the line out. So I'm going to highlight a few of those today for you, but the AMX portfolio today has solutions from the very smallest sort of huddle space all the way through some of the largest matrix switches that are available on the market today. And just to kind of look at the line, this represents it fairly well. And we're going to talk really about something in each of these categories. AMX has been quietly innovating in a lot of these areas, and really pleased today to kind of highlight some of those innovations and show you. And we'll start really with kind of that huddle space. As we return to work and as we return back to school, we're seeing the market change a little bit in the corporate space and really some of the education spaces into smaller working groups. And we've got a couple of solutions that we brought onto the market late last year, and all of the new products that we'll talk about today are within the last 12 months to sort of level set what we mean by new products. And we call these our connectivity and transport kits. Really simple to use, simple to install solutions that allow for connectivity into a system, transport over some of the peripherals in the room on that, being able to switch the USB, being able to integrate fixed cameras in the room, fixed audio systems in the room. Nice part about these boxes are they are native NetLinks boxes, and so for putting these onto situations where you're going to use RMS or perhaps you're going to use NetLinks control, they're purpose built for these boxes. But we did take the extra step to make sure these are usable right out of the box, and really you're not going to put in Netlink's control, or if you're not using RMS, I just need a simple room that I can push a button, be able to route to a display, and then simply leave the room. These are really a choice for you, and I'll just show you a real quick highlight of what these would look like. Most of these kits, well, both of these kits actually will have a transmitter receiver, various inputs on each actually. So you've got the ability now at the transmitter side on many of these to have things like HDMI, DisplayPort, DVI on some of these units. You take all that information, you put it over the category cable, and at the receiver, you've got a few inputs as well. So if you have like a dedicated room PC, if you have like a sound bar or perhaps a camera, all of these can be now shared with what I would call a shared asset. So in applications where you're going to use a soft codec, and as a space, you really want to provide a camera, an audio system, and something that has a good fixed, clean install, but maybe not overboard. I'm showing you an example here of something that would be a really effective small system, but no control system needed. The displays are automatically turned on. When it sees sync, it automatically turns the displays off. And you can now bring a laptop in there, host a Zoom call, but have a fixed camera for the room and have a fixed audio system. So you have that installed feeling. Again, two products in that category, we're calling the connectivity kits. And we've actually just launched a very aggressive pricing promotion with AMX Canada. So for more information on your connectivity kits, contact your AMX Canada rep. I think they'd be glad to tell you about these. One of the things that we are really excited about is the DVX. And well, got ahead of myself a little bit. I did want to touch with the group on INCITE. INCITE is a series of switchers which are low-cost switchers, but still offer the full functionality of Netlink's control, powerful integration with Harman audio, and really seamless switching and the ability to do window processing. Pretty handy little boxes. They come in 3 flavors. So we've got ones that have the video switching. We have video switching with an amplifier, and then we have a full-blown unit that has a built-in Netlink's processor in it as well. All of the products that I'm talking to you about today are 4K 60, 444, so they're uncompromised on the video standpoint. The INCITE actually offers a little bit of video processing in it, so I have windowing processing and I have seamless switching built into this box. So for small applications, for things like distance learning, I'll talk a little bit about the connected classroom. These are a great box to be able to put an instructor in a corner, put the content in there, and then use that to capture high resolution video for later playback or for distribution out on the web. All of the things you kind of know and love about AMX, from our secure controllers to our ability to use robust distance transporter built into the box. And these do have a HTML5 based integrated GUI. So right out of the box, you're able to connect to this thing and make this thing work. There's where I was going. The new DVX 4K. This really is one of the most exciting product launches that I've been a part of at AMX, and I've been at AMX about 15 years at this point. This represents the classic AMX control and video standard that you know and love, and it integrates with it that classic Harman audio experience. This thing really does have the best of everything built in it. The switchers themselves are delivering perfect video, right? So there's no compromising on the video. It's got perfect audio. We're now able to talk to audio protocols like Dante. We've made the boxes easier to talk to. We've kept the security, and we've made improvements upon our ability to get this content over a category cable. And I'll do a little bit of a deeper dive. We've got a lot to cover today, so if I don't go into too much detail, we'll have some time at the end, and of course, we'd love to set up some time with you if you'd like more detailed explanations. So perfect video is one of the key pillars for this box. It really had to be the next gen box for us. So it's true 4K 60, 444, uncompromised, no chroma subsampling. It's the latest and the greatest. It brings that DVX category of product up to a full 4K. So we've talked about connectivity kits that are now 4K for very small rooms. We talked about INCITE, that is a sort of a medium level switcher, and this is sort of our large presentation switchers that are 4K as well. Latest standards for HDCP and sort of high data rate. And then I'll show you here in just a second, we've actually introduced some new DX Link transmitters and receivers to work with these products. So they also follow the same 4K, 444, 60 hertz, and allow for distance transport. And of course, in the AMX family, you're going to get additional native Netlinks ports and Ethernet over those devices as well. Smart scale has always been a mantra of AMX. Every output, every time, we want to make sure you've got the perfect picture on every display. And then full compatibility on the HD base T now. So in cases where you've got projectors or perhaps a camera that is an HD base T product, those can be integrated directly into the unit without need for transmitters or receivers. This is one of the most exciting parts about the box. Is the audio side of this thing is truly a professional audio experience. There are many products on the market in where we have fantastic switchers that have amps that may not have quite the meat on that we need, or perhaps don't have the DSP control that you want. And so you wind up a lot of times maybe not using that part of the box, or having to put in other components to get there. This thing has everything you need built right in it. So it has 120 watts per channel. That is twice what we had on our previous boxes and almost 3 times many of our competitions. We've had this box out powering some of our larger speaker sets, and it's impressive. I'd just encourage you to take a look, take a listen on that. We kind of simplified the boxes this time, so we're not going to have separate products for 70 volt and 8 ohm. Now it's the same SKU number. You can just simply select how you'd like to apply that box. Built into these is a full featured DSP. These algorithms are borrowed from our BSS family of products, so they are tried, true, and tested. They're going to give you things like EQ, mixing, ducking, and compression to make sure that audio sounds perfect for the environment. And then you've got additional mic lines on these, mic and line inputs, I should say, on these. So 6 of those. And then Dante. This is a very, as a new introduction for us, it's the only presentation switcher on the market today with a native Dante audio input. Now you can use things like array microphones. You can use other Dante inputs and outs, and you can make this part of the audio system, the audio ecosystem, without having to compromise on your presentation switching. And when used with a family of products on the audio side, it really does create an elegant audio network. We really made this box simple to use. The new boxes now have HTML5 based interfaces on them. So right out of the box, I can use a laptop, hit the IP address of the box. It's going to tell me the IP right on the front of the box, and away I go. Very simple, very easy to use. You can make your switching from that HTML5 interface. You can find out information. It's got full active status, so inputs that don't have signal on them are red. Inputs that are active have a green indicator on those. So really, really intuitive. We are continuing to add in the build on that. In one of our meetings yesterday, we talked about perhaps some new software for them that will even give you VU and meters at some of the audio sites. So continuing to take input and continuing to really innovate and build on that. Another nice part about this is endpoint automatic configuration. When you plug a DX Link receiver into this box, it just works. It finds it, it associates itself to it, and away you go. There's no need to go in and bind them. There's no need to do any of the old school ways to get these things to work. They're built for each other. They know they're there, and they just work. If it perhaps goes offline, if there's a power outage, or for some reason they lose that connection, they're going to reconnect, and they're just going to work. So that's a huge improvement in this category of product, and we're really looking forward to what that can do out into the market. Oops, hitting the wrong arrow. Sorry about that. So this is kind of a quick look at what our web interface looks like on there. So very similar to our large frame matrix switchers, if you've had experience with those products. We really wanted to continue to build on that approach. And you can kind of see just briefly some of the indicators that I talked about in there. Really easy to use, really intuitive. And the nice part about it is it's ready right out of the box. All the security features that you've come to know and love from AMX are built into this box as well. And for me, some of the most important ones are LDAP and syslog support. LDAP gives IT administrators the ability to hand out and revoke credentials based on their network criteria, not having to go box by box and log into them. So this really does give the IT manager a way to manage their AV network in the way that they're used to managing it. So it conforms to the way that they would like to do that versus making them, manage their boxes the way that we would like them to. And then syslog just falls right into their loss mitigation protocol, so that exceptions and errors and reports like that go right on the syslog, and it's something that they're very used to doing. All the old same encryptions there, all the security is built into this box. So it is a box that is ready for secure networks. It's a box that's ready for the most demanding network infrastructure. Yeah, so I talked a little bit about the transmitters and receivers. Here's a quick look at those. Specs on these are going to be identical to the box that we just talked about. So all the highest resolutions and latest resolutions there, all the high data support, HDCP standards, and the compatibility. So these are brand new boxes for us. We're excited. These will actually be in our warehouse here in about a week and a half. They are in the air, coming over from our manufacturing plant. So these are brand spanking new, and we are looking forward to getting those in right now. And all in all, I wanted to just finish up by saying the DVX is special for a number of reasons, but I think for me, what really sets this apart is the look and feel of this box is the new look and feel of a Harman professional integrated solution. And so, as you know, AMX is part of the Harman family. This is what all of our new installation-based products will look like. So whether that's part of our audio family or part of our video and control family, our products are being built to work with each other. Our products are being built to look like each other, and our products are being built to be interoperable with the world. I was very happy to see that Harman decided to release the new look and feel of our line on an AMX product. I think it speaks volumes about their commitment to the AMX brand. You're going to see some really good continued innovations both in this line as well as some of our SVSI product lines here over the next 6 to 8 months. And so just to kind of bait the crowd a little bit, we are working very hard and we are just beginning on some of our new products. Jeff and his team have done a fantastic job, and we are really excited about what's to come next. So not to be left out, we still have a full portfolio of 1080p products. So the new products on the DVX line, we kind of refer to those internally as DVX 4K, and we refer to our previous versions, which are still available, as the HD versions. As we brought the 4K onto the market, we did go in and revise our pricing on all of our older products. Again, still available. Many universities, many companies are standardized on these. So as of today, we really have no plans to deplete that line. We're going to really sort of see what the demand is for these products. But in light of the new products, we were able to really get these at a very advantaged cost for the new 4K, which meant we had to look at the HD versions and bring those in line. So now you've got a family of presentation switchers from 4x2 to 10x4, and then up to 8x4 in the 4K versions of this. So not to be left out are our large frame matrix switchers. This is what we call our DGX switching platform. And we've brought the DGX up to the 4K 60 threshold now as well. So we now have input-output cards that are 4K 60, and these are the copper. We have fiber cards that will be released shortly. And then the TX and the RX there you see are the identical products that we looked at on the previous page. So when building the AMX infrastructure, the ecosystem, if you will, you now can have very small rooms with connectivity kits. You can have medium-sized rooms with INCITEs. You can have larger presentation room with a DVX. All of those can feed back to one of our large frame matrix switchers now using the DX-Link inputs and output cards. And you really can create a full network of AMX video and control solutions with uncompromised video, essentially no compression and essentially no latency. So really a revision on the portfolio top to bottom. And again, everything that I showed you today is products that have been released in the last 12 months. So these are very recent innovations, and we are just getting started. And I am going to hand this over to Mr. Jeff Birch. He is going to walk you through our networked AV solutions.
Hey, happy to be here. Thanks. Can everybody hear me? Give me a thumbs up.
I got you.
All right, fantastic. So yeah, networked AV. I know we've talked about some new products that are coming to market, and when we get asked, what are you bringing new in the SVSI space? I think it's always good to go back and look at what we already have, because we have already the most complete end-to-end solution for network AV. We already have the breadth of different capabilities. We've got if you want something that's low, super low latency and a low price, we have this N1000 series. If you're looking for 4K, we have both a 4K 30 low cost solution and a 4K 60, a little bit more expensive solution, but with a full 4K 60 support. If you're looking for a more standard H.264 type solution for getting across a very low bandwidth in a network, maybe branching over to a new campus, or streaming to a Facebook live stream or something like that. So really, each of these codecs kind of offers unique advantages, unique capabilities within the space, and the customers now have the flexibility to choose the codec that really matches what their particular needs are. But if you look beyond just the standard video codec solutions, we also have a bunch of accessories that go around this that include things like the audio transceiver. So for a lot of other competitive solutions, if you've got a situation where you've got a place with a laptop on a lectern and you have an extra microphone, you've got that extra audio piece you need to get onto the network, you got to go get a whole nother video encoder piece. Whereas with the AMX portfolio, we've got the M4000 series, the 4321. It does simultaneous audio encode and decode. You can bring in a microphone and send it on to the network. We also have the N6000 series, the network video recorder. And not shown in here is also the video window processor, which is a unique product for AMX. It's all network. It's all network over AV solution. It's IP in, IP out window processor. And we have those window processors for most of these series up here. So you've got a lot of opportunities to mix and match the window processor with the series that you've got. And another key is an open standards-based control solution. We have the N8000 series, the N command that gives you a platform to run this open control API, and gives you a lot of ability to configure, to monitor, to manage the solution, to do mass deployments and the like. But it's also an open API that lets you integrate SVSI with QSYS or Crestron or an IT-centric platform or whatever you want. So we've really got the full end-to-end solution in terms of product capability. So if you go to the next slide, just to reinforce, right, everything from encoders and decoders to little accessories, we've got card cage options and cards in the encoder decoder that you can take just the cards, and if you've got a lot of them, you can stack them up in a card cage. We have wall plates options in the various product lines. We've got presentation switching in the N7421. That's a presentation switcher that's really custom made for our to mate with our SVSI product line, where you can add some encoder and decoder directly into the presentation switcher. I mentioned the window processors, video recording, all of that. So when you look at a kind of standard network, just to visualize, right? You've got encoders and decoders. A lot of companies start with just the encoders on the left and the decoders on the right, and that's where they finish. Central network switch, and then connected into the network switch, you can bring in the audio transceiver piece, the window processors and recorders, and all of that. So when you look at the individual pieces, if you're we've got the N1000 series for really low latency, really high quality, uncompressed video over a gigabit network. We've got the N2X series, the 2000, the 2300, 2400 series that give you digital cinema grade, 4K 30 support, 4K 60 support, 4K Ultra HD, and really best in class latency with sub 8 milliseconds latency. And then there's the N3000 series that gives you the HD64 to distribute across a wide area network. And within the encoders and decoders, a piece that a lot of people forget about is the ability to scale at each of these decoders in a way that lets you spread content over multiple displays. This is sort of an extreme example here, but it shows how you can take multiple source devices here, and by scaling differently different sections of the window of the video source, you can spread that one video source over multiple displays, and it can be 2x2, it can be 3x3, or you can just put the whole thing on one display if you like. So a lot of flexibility here with video wall applications. We have a wall builder application that helps you build this, that takes the bezels into account and does all kinds of fancy stuff to make this an easy solution. In addition to building a wall, no, keep going. Yep, that's fine.
Yeah.
We also have the sort of the opposite, where we want to take, instead of taking one piece of content and spreading it out across multiple displays, we want to take multiple source devices and put it all on one display. And we do that with our window processing, and like I said, we have the window processor available in a number of our product lines. So you bring in multiple real-time video. You can accept 4 video streams. Some of our product lines actually accept up to 9 video streams, and they can be cropped, scaled, positioned. You can store presets like a quad window or something like that. And when you combine those two, when you move to the next slide, you can see that if you take this ability to do window processing and the ability to scale individually across multiple screens, you can actually get this sort of combined effect where we are putting windowed content, combining, overlaying sources onto a single image, and then breaking that image back up again and spreading it across multiple screens. So it's really a very flexible solution, and just with the decoders and the window processors, the ability to make really eye-catching video wall solutions. It's a very simple. It's a simple process to make what can really look like a massively complex and awe-inspiring solution. And there's a number of unique feature sets. I think the big thing that I want to make sure everybody takes away is we have in the portfolio the best quality codec, the most capable codec. We have best image quality, best latency, best bandwidth management of any solution out there. We have features that nobody else has in the space, like host play and local play, so that you never see a blank image on the screen. So that means that if a source device gets disconnected or stops sending video into an encoder, that encoder can generate its own image, and you can have a collection of images that then get transmitted in place of the source device. Or similarly at the decoder, you can have local images stored there that show themselves in a corporate-wide messaging solution. For example, if you want to deliver a message to every display with a decoder across a space, you can pull that up through a local image. We also have the most flexible control options available. Because SVSI started out as a separate company and we acquired it, one of the things that we made sure we did when we acquired SVSI was we We did not want to bring them into the walled garden in a way that prevented them from being used in the open solutions that they were being used in already. One of the things that made SVSI the preeminent network AV solution in the market was the fact that it had this open control architecture that worked with pretty much anybody else's control system. And we've kept that and we've been true to that. So it's got built-in control capability inside each of the boxes. It's a standard that we publish. It's an open API. So there's people that are using this with a variety of different control solutions. So when we talk about the future, when you see all of the pieces that we already have in play, we already have the best quality and the best latency solutions. The direction that we obviously need to go is, how do you bridge those across all the different SKUs, right? How do you have all of these different pieces and prevent customers from having to then choose, do I want this 1,000? Do I want this 2,000? So most of the industry is continuing along a fairly standard path, and AMX is taking a broader view and a little bit different look, and really coming up with something innovative in this space that's going to bring the best of all those worlds into one. And it's not something we can go into details in here, but just know that there are next year going to be some really dramatic announcements in this space, where we really we build on our preeminent position within the market in network AV, and we build on that. So stay tuned.
Great, thanks, Jeff. I was fortunate enough to get a preview of what we're going to be doing in this space, and I was blown away. The work that Jeff and his team are doing, and what we're going to be releasing here in the near future is going to change the way you interact with these types of solutions. It's going to change the way you consume that content. It's going to change the way that you send that type of content to this. And it's one of those things. It's like every good idea. When you see it, you go, absolutely. Why didn't we do that before? So I'm excited for you, man. Keep up the good work. Thank you. All right. So continuing on, these are all sort of some continued new products. So I wanted to talk a little bit about user interfaces with the group. And as a shameful reminder, I will tell everyone that AMX has the world's greatest touch panels. We've got those in 5 flavors. We're the only company that gives you a canvas of 20 inches on our largest panel to control and manage your systems. But we also have a full selections of tabletop and wall mount panels. Another solution that we have is TP Control. TP Control really has been one of our most popular solutions. It allows you to interact with your control systems via a mobile device, whether that be mobile PC, whether it be a phone, or whether that be a tablet. And we've continued to innovate in the TP Control, and this has sort of been, I mentioned the subtle innovation. This has been one of the more subtle. So this thing looks and behaves exactly like a touch panel, but they've done some really innovative stuff with the TP Control product. For instance, speech to text and text to speech now. So we're able to voice operate our AMX control systems now really based on speech. That's huge going back into the new environments. People are going to be very hesitant to touch surfaces. It's going to be difficult to clean and maintain surfaces that customers may be concerned about the liability there. So what better way to enable a voice controlled solution? We also have something very cool called a BYOD box. The TP Control is an app that's loaded onto a mobile device, and that works well when I have a mobile device that's not going to leave that room or that's always going to be part of that solution. But that does really accomplish the fact that I don't want to touch somebody else's mobile device today. I would need to hand sanitize. I would want to clean it first, and I'd be worried about who came in after me, just given today's environment. What would really be nice if I could just come in with my mobile device and I don't have to download an app. I don't have to do anything crazy. I can just interact with the system. Well, that's exactly what our BYOD product set does. I can bring my phone in, whether it's a Samsung, whether it's an Apple. I can connect to that box and I can operate the control system without even loading a program on my my device. So that's pretty innovative, and I think that speaks directly to solutions that I know my customers are asking me for today, and I would imagine you're seeing those in the environment as well. And then we've continued to look at our pricing for TP controls. We've had a few areas where we've reduced some of our pricing, and I believe we're continuing to look at ways to bring value into that solution. So it's been a big hit for us. And on that note, we have announced a new product in this space called the TPI Pro. The TPI Pro is a pretty handy little piece of software now. So this actually replaces a previous version of the TPI where it was a hardware version. I think we had it in DVI, where you could have up to 4 windows and you could have a touch-enabled monitor and be able to annotate. But the real power of that product was being able to put multiple video windows on a display, a large display, and also have built-in overlays for control and annotation. And we always kind of use the example of a higher ed lecture space, right? I don't want to be flipping through a bunch of screens. I need to have my controls right there. I need to be able to see my presentation. A lot of times I need to be able to preview something before I move it up to the screen because I've got, possibly 500 people in a classroom. So this is a great device to do that. And you don't even have to flip screens to do it. So I can have perhaps a preview window on one side and I can have the main display on the other. So I've got a confidence monitor and I've got a preview and I've got all my controls right there. I'm never going to find myself fumbling around trying to remember where did I see that one control? How do I do that? Just as a quick sort of view on this thing, it does support Windows. This will actually run on a PC. It's a bit of software now. So we've replaced the hardware versions with a software versions. And at a very high level, we are using USB to import our video into the solution. You can have up to 4 video windows on the TP Pro products. And of course, all of your control functions are there. Again, talk to your team at Amex Canada. I know they are very familiar with this solution and absolutely perfect for areas where I can't be moving around a lot of screens. I need multiple window confirmations, and I just need this thing really, really easy. It also allows you now the flexibility to select your touch-enabled display based on the right size, based on the right look and feel and architecture for the room. And so I wanted to kind of tie all this together for you and talk a little bit about what we call the connected classroom. We've been through all these technologies now. Let's use it in an applications. So in this particular application here, I'm using a VPX along with a DVX 3266. So basic way of saying we're using a presentation switcher. I'm using an AMX product as a transmitter to get to that so I can be remotely located. And I have this central switch that is processing all my local room video. That video is going to be uncompressed. That video is going to be virtually latency free. And it's going to be that traditional experience that you have in rooms where you're dealing with native video. But in the connected classroom, I'm going to have a group of students there. I'm going to have a group of students that aren't there. And so there's lots of different ways we can connect to those other students in. We could certainly do the Zoom call and do the recording as we're doing today. But we're finding some of our customers are looking for either a higher quality audio and video, or many times they want to be able to control where that content goes and be able to understand who's accessed that content and have they access that content. So in a higher education application as well, we may have attendance that we took in class today with the option of students need to view this particular lecture within the next 48 hours, right? And there's many services out there that can do that. What this system allows them to do is now by connecting in one of my SVSI encoders, which Jeff talked about a little bit earlier, the 3132 is an H.264 encoder. So we're now taking that native video, converting it to an H.264 stream, and we can connect it to the cloud. I can point this to send it to a YouTube site to make that video available on a YouTube site, or I can point it to a proprietary server that is going to manage the content and look at who's viewed it and give me metrics on that. And so it brings the traditional AV experience and quality of presentation and marries that with the ability to encode that content, all using the AMX solutions start to finish on that. So I thought that was just a good way to sort of tie in everything that we've talked about today. And I think you'll see this same sort of concept over many areas. Maybe not just large classrooms and training rooms, but I think you'll see this even in some huddle spaces as we look for ways to connect the world without necessarily being in the same room today. So we moved through that really quick. I know we did. I'm a few minutes ahead of schedule, but I think we've got plenty of time now for questions and answers. So I'll stop the share and then I'll hand it back to you, Kyle, if you'd like to open up the group.
Thanks, Blake. Appreciate all the information. Jeff, awesome information regarding SVSI. We do have a question from Greg in the Q&A here, which is regarding the voice control solution within TP Control. And he's curious as to how the voice is control processing. Does it go off-site to like the Amazon or Google servers, so you need an internet connection, or is it processed within the application itself?
It uses a third party. Jeff, do you know the specifics on that? I know we are not hosting a voice agent ourselves. We are using a commercially available voice agent. You're muted, Jeff.
I don't know can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know the details of what service we're using for that exactly. So I'd have to get back on that.
Yeah, I'll take that as an action item, and Kyle, I'll get you that information, and you can get that distributed to the group.
Sounds great. So while we wait for a few more questions to roll in, we covered quite a bit here. I mean, yes, we got about 20 minutes here for Q&A. I appreciate Blake and Jeff's and all the information. So we covered everything from, our small huddle space solutions, the connectivity and transport kits, which the CTC 1402, actually I believe there actually are no competitors in the environment who are able to share BYOD devices over the laptop with full 4K 60. That's one thing that AMX has been the leader in for quite a number of years. And then we touched on the DVX all-in-one presentation switcher. I wanted to actually mention, while we're waiting for questions to come in, we are actually running a promo on the DVX 4K. So there's a promo going on here in Canada for a one-to-one option where clients who currently have the older DVX HD presentation switchers will have the option to use those as a trade-in to receive a significant discount off of a new DVX 4K 60 presentation. So we're trying to enable our customers to move into the 4K realm while also being able to update their current HD lineup. One other item I actually wanted to touch on, and Jeff covered it within the SVSI lineup. SVSI has over a decade of experience within the AV over IP lineup. And a lot of customers, a lot of dealers, a lot of end users don't realize that SVSI actually basically wrote the, we'll call the standards for AV over IP that everybody else who is currently has an AV over IP solution is piggybacking off of, right? And Jeff even mentioned also how SVSI has the best bandwidth management. So a lot of competitors will claim zero latency. There's no such thing. There is no such thing. There's latency right now. There's, whether it's a few milliseconds, whether it's 250 milliseconds. So the claims of zero latency are false. There's always going to be some latency. And when we get into latency discussions, we move into to have less latency, we have much higher bandwidth utilization. So a lot of these competitors who are coming into the space now are actually using much, much higher bandwidth to accomplish the same latencies as an SVSI solution. Some competitors, and I'm taking this right off the data sheets, are at 950 megabytes per second on a 1 gig link. So they're using 95% of their pipe to accomplish what SVSI is able to do with 800 megs and lower. So something to be of considered. So we do have another question that came in, Thomas. Will AMX offer HTML5 for their older devices since Flash will no longer be in service after December? Correct me if I'm wrong, Blake, our RMS, the room map monitoring system, runs off Flash but is being updated, correct?
Correct.
Yep. Yeah. So that'll be out the end of November. We'll have RMS, and that RMS update has been in the works now for a year. You know, and we've known about it for a while and been working on it for a while. The thing is, you know, it's not just going in and deleting references to Flash, right? Flash was the entire interface. So we basically had to recreate RMS from the ground up in HTML5, and the team's been working on that for a while. They've been making great progress. So we've got betas now, and that'll be available for all RMS customers in November.
And then the DVX as well, the team is working on an HTML upgrade for the legacy units as well, correct?
Yep, that is something we're working on. We don't have as firm a date for that, but I want to stress that, you know, nothing is going to break in the DVX, the older DVXs, when Flash goes away. We don't use Flash for anything but a few pages for the audio video configuration within the DVX. So the rest of the functionality has absolutely nothing to do with Flash. The DVX will continue to operate as it's been operating. There's not going to be any changes or degradation there.
Yeah, and ironically enough, as Adobe legacied the Flash product, they hired Harman to maintain and manage that until, I guess, at some point where we bury it. So we also have a connected services division. As you know, we've got many parts of the company, so we're actually the ones now that are going to be managing Flash going forward.
Interesting. Good information going forward, especially for some of the legacy stuff, right? I mean, a lot of users might not be looking to upgrade now, but then when the interface goes, you know, we want to make sure that you guys are able to support it. So that's awesome.
Al, we had also a previous question that I can see that Thomas asked about IO device trigger, and I think this was related to the CTC and CTP. So yes, these units have the capability of being triggered by a contact closure. So yeah, you can use these in a standalone with push button or using our auto ports. So we have our auto ports that has also some buttons you can add inside and just have it triggered for the proper input to be selected. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Kyle, I remembered also, as you were mentioning a promo, we have an additional promo that we are running with the DVX currently also with the TP Controls license as well. So we have a trade-in program, and then we also have a program right now where we're going to give you a free copy of TP Controls with the purchase of a DVX. So pretty good values there, and hopefully that will be something the market really responds to.
Absolutely, especially enabling, you know, the new, you touched on it there, Blake, regarding, you know, that sanitization of touch panels, a lot of BYOD devices, and a lot of remote workers coming into the space to enable them to be able to remotely control the room with their own device and then take it with them, obviously will support the new way of working the way it's been going. So.
Yeah, and really the CTC kits, the connectivity kits sort of support that as well by automatically sensing inputs, automatically turning displays off and then turning them off when you're done. All you have to do is use your pen to push the button, right, and your minimum exposure.
Absolutely. So we have a question, can end users take advantage of both DVX promos? I think that's going to be a discussion we'll take offline here, Andrew, regarding, because the promo is available through dealers, and then we can have discussions on how that will be passed along to the end users, right? So we got about 12 minutes here. I'll wait a couple minutes for a couple more questions to come in. So as we mentioned, we touched on DVX on the 4K side. We've touched on SVSI, and I'm really excited to see what you guys have to come out next year to really, you know, kind of shake up some of the AV over IP markets. And what I found really interesting with the TPI Pro solution is the way that operates, and I'm just kind of getting into the nitty gritties, is that's, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff or Blake, that one is actually driven by a third-party touch panel because it is just a USB-based protocol. So in the event you don't want to go with a proprietary touch panel, you could have maybe a planar touch panel at the lectern table or a sharp touch display, and if you go in the future and that display dies, well, any USB enabled touch interface would be able to be swapped in and you'd be operating back as normal.
You're exactly right. A subtle flexibility on that, as well as many times we find companies have budgets for AV and they have budgets for the network. And one of the really nice things about doing something like that means you may be able to procure the monitors under an IT budget. You might use your AV budget for something, and SVSI follows along that same line, right? So they all run over the network switch. Well, that's a portion of the expense of putting in a video over IP solution. But if you can isolate your switching down to your network expense side, and you can use the AV budget to buy the encoders and decoders, a lot of times that just works for customers trying to align their budgets.
Absolutely. So Thomas did put in a question here regarding 8K is starting to gain some traction here in the commercial environment. Is AMX starting to look into that?
Yeah, we've done much more than just start to look into it, and in fact, AMX is probably the best position to take advantage of 8K. So most of the competitors even struggle to get 4K, full 4K 6444. If you look at a lot of the competitors, they may take in 4K 6444 on an input, but they have to compress it to get it across their backplane, or to get it across a network, or to get it across an HD-based-T type connection. Our DVX and DGX backplanes are built from the ground up with enough bandwidth to support 8K already. We don't have to, and we know that none of our competitors have that advantage. So yes, a little bit of advanced knowledge. We are absolutely working on 8K solutions. We've been planning it for a while in the development of our backplanes. And we have plans both in our traditional switching DGX card cage, as well as in our network AV. In fact, one of the differences that we are differentiating, one of the reasons that we're trying to take a little bit different path than what a lot of our competitors are taking in terms of network AV. If you look at some of the competition that I've already talked about, 8K plans, they're talking about 2.5 gig or 5 gig, 5 gigabit per second to deliver 8K. And you can't really run a 5 gig cable. You don't really, you're kind of going all the way to a 10 gig solution once you've gone past the gigabit network. So one of the really intriguing things that we're looking at with the technology that we're developing, some of the innovation that we're pursuing in that space, is the ability to do 8K video still within a gigabit network. So lots of big plans around 8K.
Great.
It does highlight too, Jeff and his team have done just such a good job through the years of making sure an investment in an AMX solution is a forward-thinking investment, right? It's the frame that you bought 4 years ago on our DGX series product, as we move into the 8K platform, can continue to be used, has a lifetime warranty on that product, and with simple card upgrades, you're just continuing to make that a solid investment, right? At very few times do you run into a situation where you go, you got to pull all that out and put something brand new in. I've seen applications where people have used some of our legacy series processors and could put just the very smallest new processor on that and use the old one for ports, didn't even recable it. So they really do put a lot of time and energy in making sure that when a customer selects AMX, they know they're making a buying decision that is a good value today, and we're going to take every opportunity we can to make sure that value is something you continue to utilize for the life of the room.
Absolutely, and that translates obviously into the AV over IP market with SVSI. We can actually deploy that in legacy environments because they only require PoE, not ultra PoE or PoE++, right? So, and that's where AMX and SVSI really do benefit the end users. So we're coming up on the last 5 minutes here. I don't see any more questions, so unless something comes in the next 30 seconds, you know what? I think we'll give everybody back 5 minutes of their time here, and I think we are able to wrap up. Again, just a quick reminder, everybody who attended, we will be sending out a survey after this. If you did attend the entire webinar and answer to our survey, you'll be put into a draw for a JBL Flip 5 Bluetooth speaker, and we'll notify you in the next couple of days if you happen to be the winner. But other than that, again, Blake, Jeff, thank you very much for jumping in today and showing us a lot of what AMX is doing nowadays, not to mention what AMX has got planned in the future, and I look really forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Kyle.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thanks,
Thank you,
Kyle.
Blake. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, everyone, and you have a good rest of your day.
All right.
Bye.